Yeah, what does conditional mean?
Conditional means I can drop it whenever I want and wherever I want.
Right, allowing one conditional brings room for more, right?
Yes.
That means you can have two.
We don't have to.
No, that means you can have, that's my question. In the future, you can have two, right?
Yes, but...
So you can have like 100. So you can drop all of them in one.
No, but it's unfair.
Right. Exactly. Anyways, does your critique link specify discover satellite, or does it specify to something else?
It specifies...
Yeah, but then it's a link, so it's supposed to be something bad for us. But does it specify this discover satellite? You didn't answer my question.
Yes. Yeah, it does.
Does it?
Can I read it?
Can you show us the evidence where it?
If there's no there's a link. Link. Which one is your link?
Do you have a link?
Do you have an alternative?
Do you have an alternative for your critique?
We don't do discover. But it doesn't
Did you talk about our impact when weighing your impact? Like when you were weighing your impact, did you talk about how ours would affect anything?
What are you talking about?
Like, did you talk about like how your impact would like
yes, we talked
outweigh
about
ours?
because of our impacts, your affirmative plan will be useless.
That's all. Thank you.
Angela?
Yes.
We're going to do the 2AC, okay?
Good luck.
Ah! Why?
Why? No pain, no gain.
Okay. So, so she's giving that up. My signpost is first out refute their inherency. And then I will extend on my solvency. And then I'll answer critique and then counter attack. Okay. Cameras are ready. 3, 2, 1, go. First, in their inheritance takeout, they said the December has budget fund, but their evidence is from February 2001, but our evidence 2011, but our evidence from July 2011, which ours is more updated, which proves that there is no budget for the Discover, which their inheritance takeout does not stand, and we still need to do our affirmative plan. Also, they say that other satellites will solve, but other space weather satellites are relevant, only focus on the info, not prediction or forecasting of the solar storm, the National Academy Press 2008. NASA is the primary organization for providing research with space weather. NOAA provides forecasts and warming products and are the most relevant to the public. Means the satellites that are launched by NOAA are the key, not the other NASA weather satellites. Now I will go on to the solvency extension. Which one? First, in our fifth solvency, we said that Discover is the key to more accurate Earth and space data, and our extent on that. 6. Data lead to effective climate knowledge gain. Rogers and Gould Airport 2010. Given the proliferation of new tools and a data acquisition system, there will be no shortage of climate info. The question of national security is whether its unique needs will be met. There are two processes in place to ensure that the necessary information will be available when it's needed. In a form that is useful decision maker require actionable data. Shows that the data collected from Discover can increase climate knowledge and help the military to make more great decisions. Also, link to Solvency 9. Diseases cause extinction, Ryan, 1997. Competition mutation subject to natural selection, most likely to amplify and evolve in a new ecological habitat. Rapidly lethal and quickly spreading virus simply could not have time to switch from aggregation to co-validation. An increasing multitude of disturbed viral host symbolic cycles are provoked into self-repetitive counteracts, and it would cause extinction. Linked to our ninth solvency because it states that discovery will solve disease by providing new technology and knowledge that currently is not available, which means that our plan can actually solve extinction. Also, satellite is key to U.S. military hegemony. Kyle, February 2007, security in space is vital national interest. The loss of access to space would threaten the very stability of our nation. Satellites underpin our military security. Our troops rely on satellites for reconnaissance, communication, navigation, and other functions. None of our military operations can function without space components. Shows that discovery is key to military hegemony, which is key to global peace. Link, hegemony prevents global nuclear war. What might happen if the U.S. turned inward? With the shifting balance of power would come significant risks of war, which shows that when we have U.S. military hegemony, we can prevent global war that might potentially lead to extinction. Also, satellites key to detect human rights violations. June 2008. Commercial satellite imagery performed by the AAS report that the growing importance of commercial imagery in the monitoring abuses in areas. We're able to identify hundreds of structures that were destroyed during the time interval identified by the refugees. The transition to human rights works inspired by U.S. government satellite imagery that proposed the humanitarian crisis of Darfur, which greater imaging capacity shows that discovery can actually help human development. Link, unchecked human rights violations lead to extinction. In the face of systematic inequality and property violence, the environmental division, the human rights framework is gaining new force and new dimension. Given the property and inequality in the U.S., it is imperative that we bring the human rights to bear both domestic and foreign policy. Shows our plan detects and prevents human rights violations that may lead to extinction, which means that our plan solves extinction, which outweighs their CP impact and CP solvency. Satellites are supposed key to solve nuclear use, which CISI 11 satellites have provided uninterrupted early warning complete from orbit. They continue to be vital in the determinant and route safe missile launches from Iran and North Korea. DSP satellites have kept an eye on development. Space-based intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance provide vital intelligence that would otherwise be inaccessible to policymakers. ISRSs offer the benefit of global coverage over a continuous period of time. Shows our plan solves nuclear weapon uses and that potentially lead to extension for a long time. That still outweighs their CP impact and their CP solvency. Also, satellites are key to economy. Johnson and Hudson GISC 2008. The economy of the U.S. is heavily dependent on the space assets in every industry. Communication GPS are the indispensable of working of the market. Acts across borders and cultures. Damage to a critical satellite might pose serious mandatory repercussions throughout the multiple countries. Shows that our satellite is key to the economy, which is what the U.S. need now. And now I would like to answer the critiques. First, capitalism solves war. Gordon, 2005. Declining worldwide statistics. According to the Soviet International Peace Research Institute, the number of armed conflicts around the world has been in decline for the past half century. Ongoing conflicts have dropped from 33 to 18. Many causes lie behind the good news. The end of the Cold War and the spread of democracy among them by expanding trade and globalization appear to be playing a major role. Globalization has dramatically raised the economic cost of war. Third, globalization allows nations to acquire wealth through production and trade rather than conquest of territory resistance. Shows that capitalism actually helps solve war because we have dramatically increases our trade and production and makes our world more wealthy instead of conquest of territory and resources. Capitalism key to colonization. Garment 2005. Discovery destroyed the myth that space exploration can only be done by the government. Space exploration requires bold innovations possible for only minds left free to pursue creative thinking. The shuttle was supposed to be paced out, but the research has been halted because the contractors enjoy overpriced shuttle without expense and bother to researching cheaper alternatives that private industry by Byron. Show that capitalism is good specifically to our plan discover that will actually solve extinction that I'll read next. Korsakara 2001. The greatest benefits by the space colonies in nuclear survival. If the global nuclear war were to break out, the entire human race would be destroyed. Humanity has to diversify its host in the universe if it is to survive. Only through space colonization is the option available. Shows that capitalism is a key to space colonization, and our plan includes space colonization because it expedites space colonization, and space colonization solves extinction, which means that our plan solves extinction that outweighs negative impact and solvency. Now I would like to refute their counterplan. First, the CP agent is too broad, causes the debate round to be unable to discuss specific arguments in depth that eventually lead to educational debate round. They should be able to identify specific sectors that provide solvency specific in order for the CP to be competitive. permutation, we will permute this private sector because the plan's key to spur communication of private sector can do it alone. The Air Force officers are proposing the launch of NASA satellite to provide competition of potential new currents. The survey is encouraging to fund the communication. Launching NASA's Discover satellite, this launch will provide opportunity to children. The winner of contractor will earn government financial support, which means that if we permute the private sector, it will bring more benefit to our side and get rid of their net benefit. Also, I will go on to conditionality. First, conditionality is a serious voting issue because conditionality allows negatives to drop their arguments at any time, which creates unfairness to the affirmative as we could not effectively strategize our 2AC and YR because there is always a possibility our defense will be just a waste of time and thus creating advantage ground for the negative. Don't even mention that the fact that 1AR already has a structural disadvantage. Unfair debate has no educational value. Debate is about learning. If not, all of us wouldn't have spend time to understand the knowledge behind other arguments. Thus, the negative that causes this round to be uneducational and unfair should be voted against. Also means that if they win, they have won on an unfair and non-educational debate round, which is meaningless. Allowing one conditional argument creates possibility and room for more conditional arguments as they admitted in cross-examination in the future. Thus, meaning more unfair and uneducational debate rounds will appear in the future. This should be stopped for the sake of future debate and fairness. For these reasons, we urge you to for affirmative.
Now, Jenny, you're going to cross-examine Angela.
Judges, are you ready? Planners, are you ready? Debaters, are you ready? Yeah. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. You said satellites are key to the economy.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying that if Discover is launched, it will benefit the economy. So you're saying the economy is not that great now,
Comparatively.
so so Discover is one type of satellite.
The only kind of satellite now, yes.
Yes, but it's still a satellite and brings data of weather and space outside.
It brings
Earth.
data, it detects solar storms, and it brings data, and it can see the Earth on a whole view that no other satellites can.
Okay, so if Discover is one type of satellite and it benefits the economy, but our Earth already has many other satellites. So you're saying that those satellites are not good to the economy? They don't
We
already
said it in our
benefit the
heresy
economy?
that the Earth observing satellites, which is the same kind of satellite as Discover, is under abuse. That is why we need a satellite that goes to the L1 point that actually helps monitor all the satellites and the whole Earth.
What about the other satellites, the weather forecast? They're already beneficial to the economy because they predict
But
weather forecasts.
we are beneficial to the economy not only as in the economy on Earth, as in to prevent solar storms, as in to prevent blackouts, as in to other things that the other satellites cannot do because they're under abuse, as we said in the heresy.
Okay, and you said something about space colonization. So you're planning to space colonize?
No, we say we will expedite space colonization, not meaning that Discover will do the space colonization, but we will help the space
Why
industry.
would you want to expedite space colonize when in your planet Earth is perfectly safe from solar flares?
Because our diversity wants to increase because we have so many population, we might want to expand to the outer space for the future, for our future generations.
Okay, and Discover is the closest satellite to the Earth, and they will be sending
Wait, you said this
warnings.
You said that Discover is the closest to
The sun.
Yeah.
And they'll be sending warnings to Earth. How fast will it take for the warnings to reach Earth?
Data will be quickly and efficiently shared with everyone involved in NASA 1998. All of the data from the Triana instrument will be made available to the science team and the generating science community. Plasma and solar weather data will be available within minutes for acquisition and provided to the National Ocean and NOAA for use of generating space weather forecasting advisories.
Can I see the evidence? This one?
Yeah. Within
And Discover will be the first one to be damaged by the solar flares because it's in the closest location to the sun than the other satellites, and it cannot operate anymore. So after Discover detects solar flares, and it becomes damaged, are you going to waste millions of dollars in launching a new Discover satellite? So
they won't be destroyed because they have the ability to predict and they can move. They're not just like locked up.
Thank you.
Alright. Now, Byron, you're going to do flow. You're going to do the
2AC.
second negative factor.
Signpost.
This is really important. You can count the Oh, how many preparation time do you get?
Are you guys ready? Byron?
Just a second.
A second.
1.
Hey,
I'm not being mean. Just being practical.
Can we have a copy of your case?
What?
What case? I don't have a choice case.
No, I mean one case.
Just give me that. Give them this one.
Take that.
It's the same thing. Why did they keep one to the same sexy?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
You get it?
so I do this, this,
I have numbers on
this, and then this.
as in design. And look at
Only
the
that. Will that
for
take
so
5 minutes?
far. Just get it in.
Alright. Byron?
True, true. Please tell me you're ready.
Signpost.
Signpost.
Signpost that, Byron.
I will refute there.
What?
Okay, I will be turning their impacts to our refutes and also
Wait,
What
what did you
is
say
that?
that again?
you turn our impacts, right? So I'm turning those
I'm not.
What?
For
You
what?
didn't turn
Impact
it.
of what?
for global warming and for technology.
I said no.
Ah,
Global warming and what?
Technology. And also conditionality.
technology as in.
Just tech is ready, tech is satellites off.
Satellite songs.
Okay, so your signpost is gonna link turn impacts,
What?
Your
the
satellite
global warming and the technology.
and also global.
You should say
Link turn impacts,
So inherency what?
No.
Harms?
Harm.
Just harms?
the harm.
Harms
What
and
else?
what?
Conditionality.
That's it.
Your conditionality, right?
Yeah, there are argument conditionality.
Okay. Alright.
3, 2, 1. opponent said that conditionality is not fair for the affirmative, but it is fair because education, our conditionality advances their educational and strategic values. It's educational because the affirmative by preparing for and refuting our counterplan and critiques, which are conditional, they gain knowledge through research, and affirmative plan becomes the resolution. So which gives them substantial flexibility. So to make up that substantial flexibility, the negatives plan, the negative are has to be able to provide counterplans and critiques that are conditional. My opponent said that the technology for their current satellites do not solve technology in solar flares. But my evidence from 2011 from Perlman, while their evidence was from 2008, physicists have predicted emerge from some spots 2 days before they appear, providing early warning of a violent solar storm that distributes the electric power grids and plunges it into darkness. Until now, space forecasters have been able to warn power companies, NASA and others prepare when the solar storm occurred. A solar physicist at NASA called the prediction an important result. It's been our hope. This evidence shows that we can already provide enough warning so that we can save our power grids. Our evidence from Baker 2008 states that recent development from SOHO improves the ability to predict solar radiation storms. A new data analysis technique allows electronics measurements from sensors to use and predict arrival time for solar events. The stereo spacecraft will provide a view of solar disk featured about a week or more in advance when they were visible from Earth. These data can be used to forecast when active regions on our sun will be able to position effects of heat on Earth should they erupt. This evidence shows that we are developing new methods to detect solar flares, so there's no reason to launch the discovery. Our evidence from Rogers and Goldman from 2010 states that the national security community is particularly adept to making decisions under conditions of uncertainty. These same officials are accustomed to making decisions on incomplete and uncertain information about future geopolitical alliances, about international terrorism, about the next move of insurgents, and the next turn in cyber attack, and so on. This shows that even if the uncertainties in data, the DoD officials can still make decisions. According to Baker 2008, with respect to entire grid remedical measures to reduce GIC levels are needed and are cost effective. The installation of supplements transformer neutral ground resistors to reduce GIC flows is relatively inexpensive and low engineering trade-offs, and can produce 60 to 7% more GIC level for storm of all sizes. My opponent stated that global warming will cause extinction, but according to Bruno 2011, the only available evidence for global warming will lead to more extreme weather events relies on modeling. Data is not really sustaining this hypothetical so far. Neither have droughts and become more frequent. And natural disasters do not necessarily have only negative consequences on national and international security. Disasters appear to prevent rather more than promote civil conflict. The Asian tsunami attributed to stabilization of successionist conflict in Indonesia. According to Tertius 2011, the idea of a massive wave of refugees do not square well with reality. Such movements are slow and generally of a limited geography scope. The challenge being seriously is inconceivably the mankind would be able to adjust and adapt. More population displacement are rarely a cause of conflict in 44. It is not even certain that the very concept of climate refugee is relevant. This evidence shows that our opponent's argument on global warming and extinction are falsified. And my opponent also stated that space colonization will solve extinction. As my partner already stated, our plan solves extinction too, and their plan states that it will solve disease. My opponent said that tech for satellite is already, but according to Bill Donahue, 2011, in 2009 book, Our Choice Gore wrote the Bush-Cheney administration canceled launch within days of taking office in January 2001 and forced NASA to pull out satellite into strange. 6 years after Discover originally launched date was cancelled. Thus convened 35 satellite specialists for one-day workshop and decided to extend the Discover. They decided it's not a suitable long-term replacement for an entire network. The satellite calibration capability offered by Claro will provide much more useful than the possibility of Discover. This evidence shows that 35 NASA specialists have evaluated Discover to not be a suitable long-term replacement for an entire network. And they already also have a new alternative called Clario. This evidence basically shows that there's no point in launching Discover, and that even if we launch it, it is not a long-term alternative, which means it cannot be relied upon. My opponent said that my opponent made the argument that our current plan does not solve the extinction scenarios that they solve. But our extinction scenario clearly states that the world will run out of energy, which will lead to extinction. So we do have an extinction scenario, so their solvency does not outweigh our solvency. During cross-examination, I asked my opponent the specifics of their plan, but they stated that it is currently not being funded right now, so we do not know the specifics. But the plan itself relies on those specifics to provide the human race advocate warning of a solar flare coming towards us. So by saying that he does not know the specifics, he's saying that the plan is not viable, it is not feasible, and it is not fully developed. So it does not deserve to be funded. And I'm very sure that my opponent in his next speech will probably make an argument on how his solvency of extinction impacts and etc. will outweigh the tech barriers. But as I said before, satellites already solve those problems. We also asked our opponents how long it will take them to get the warning to Earth, which they answered in minutes. But they did not specify how large the scale of the warning is and how effective the warning will be. For these reasons, we urge you to vote for us.
I thought you were going to say it over there. I was like,
Okay. Now, Angela is in the classic plan.
whoa.
Calm down.
Don't be so violent. I know, I'm
Okay,
doing
3, 2, 1, go.
You said we don't want to subsidize our counter plan, but we already said that you don't even subsidize your agent of private sector. Isn't that the same thing you didn't subsidize?
What kind of plan? That would be the United States.
The United States? But you didn't specify the sector. Like ours is U.S. federal government, and you didn't specify U.S. private sector on the context. So the specificity of your plan and the knowledge that you know about it is the same as ours.
Okay.
Isn't it?
Is it?
Isn't it? I'm asking you. Isn't it that you're?
Well, our plan clearly states what we're going to be doing. We have specifics. We have the
So
the
can you
details.
say this? Can you say it? What kind of sectors and what kind of green technology in space?
What kind of green technology?
And how are you going to do it? The specifics. How are you going to do it? So you,
Private sectors.
so you don't know.
Private sectors.
Yeah, but private sectors and what sectors and how are you going to do? What kind of green technology are you going to do and how are you going to do it? The specifics.
Well, green technology